Good morning. Welcome to the webcast today, taking a look at trimming the template using the CTC BIM Manager Suite. My name is Drew Jarvis and I'm a technical consultant with SolidCAD. I'm based out in Port Moody in BC, which is so morning for me and afternoon if you're joining from the East Coast. Now, our learning objectives are that we're going to be trimming the template to the bare minimum, updating our template so that we have a lean template and we're not referring to old projects for our new project setup. And we'll look at the options for separating standards. So we recommend using the Hive CMS, which is a content management solution. This gives you a cloud-hosted solution. We would host our content on Hive and then have a nice lean template to go along with that. Now, a little bit about the template files. We can either use an RVT, a Revit project file, or an RTE, so Revit template file for our template. The main difference is that the RVT allows for the setup of work sets within the file. The advantage of an RTE, I guess, is that it ensures that you don't overwrite the file, because when you use an RTE, it kind of makes a temporary file. So you just got to make sure that you're careful with the right access to the RVT file. But I find most of the customers I work with are using RVT, Revit project files, as their template and opening it detached and then doing a save as in order to make sure they have things set up with work sets right from the get-go. So the RVT requires that you use the open command, whereas the RTE uses the new command. Now, typically, I'm finding three methods of template usage. You can go with the full template, which has everything in it that you'll ever need. And this was kind of the way that a lot of companies went initially. What happened there, though, was you ended up with a very large file, lots of bloat inside of it. And so it caused maybe some confusion as to, why is a bunch of industrial stuff in my commercial or my residential template. And also just caused, an inefficient file being oversized. So the other method that we're seeing more is to go with a lean template file and then either a warehouse file for your content or a CMS, a content management solution. So the lean template has only the basics that all projects are going to need. Then the other content that you'll need is available via either the separate file in the case of the warehouse or via a content management solution where you can search and then insert content from there. Now, a lot of companies have full templates and they want to move to a lean template, or they've not just started creating a template, but they have a lot of settings and standards in completed projects, and they'd like to use that in a template moving forward. And that is where the following CTC tools I'm going to present today from the BIM Manager Suite are going to come into play. For example, the type swapper, which we can find duplicate families. Like those that you might find in your project if you use transfer project standards. So on the screen there, you can see it's showing the M_callout_head1, which is basically a duplicate of M_callout_head. And this is something that typically happens when you transfer project standards and you're copying information in from one project to another. Okay. So we can confirm what we want to swap and then click on the swap button. You can also see next to it, there's a little checkbox for deleting the duplicate families. And so this gives us the ability to swap one family out for another and then remove the one that we don't want. Now, drafting families are another topic to consider with your templates. Do you put all of your details into your template or do you store them in a separate file? Now, we recommend, again, throwing them onto a separate file with a lean template, but you are still going to have to consider then the cleanup that comes along with details. So I find that when I bring a CAD file in, for example, lots of libraries are in CAD and we need to bring them into Revit. You import that CAD file, you explode it, and then what do you end up with? You end up with a whole bunch of rubbish all over the place, right? So you can end up with text types that have the DWG inside of them, line patterns that have a prefix of import, right? Stuff that we don't want to see there. So the type swapper is going to enable you to go in and find those things and swap them out for your company standard things. So we're going to take a look at this all in a bit of a demo later. I'm just going through a few slides here. I've got about 3 or 4 more, and then we'll jump into the software. So another tool available to us in this BIM Manager Suite is the shared manager, sorry, the family tools. Sorry, and this can be used when you're managing family files. For example, the first tab here can be used to remove backup family files or backup project files from a folder, so keep your IT department happy, right? But probably more interestingly are some of the other ones in here. So the type catalog tool is quite an interesting one. If you're ever doing anything with type catalogs, that means that you're probably deep inside Notepad, and inside of there, you're having to put all this information in, comma delimited text files, and it's really not very user friendly. So what the type catalog tool enables you to do is actually manage that information inside of an Excel file, and then you can take a CSV file and convert it into a text file. So it means you can do some of the cool stuff that Excel gives you the option to do, like naming things based on the parameters of the family inside of Excel, and then export it out as a type catalog. All right, so quite a powerful little tool there. Another couple of tools on here are to do with shared parameters. And so one of them will compare shared parameter files. Now, I've had the experience with firms that have ended up with numerous duplications of shared parameters, and even numerous duplications of shared parameter files. I've seen shared parameter files with thousands of shared parameters inside of them, and then somewhere else on the server there'll be another shared parameter file that somebody else made, and no one knows exactly which one they're meant to be using. You don't know if they're exactly the same with some additions, or if they're completely different, So compare shared parameters, merge shared parameters, tools that are going to help you, and I wish I had a few years ago, in order to kind of take a look at those shared parameter files. And a really cool thing is that this is a free tool. This family tools that I'm talking about here, with the light blue icon, that indicates it's actually a free tool. So you don't even need a license to run that one. Next up, we've got the shared parameter manager. Now, if the previous slide seemed like a good thing because you're dealing with shared parameters and it's something you want to take a look at, then if you're really serious about your shared parameters and getting your schedules working with your content and that type of thing, this is probably a tool you want to consider as well. If you get hold of the paid suite, then you'll have the shared parameter manager. And this tool replaces the very limited shared parameter manager that you have inside of Revit, right? So if you want to make shared parameters and you want to do the kind of bulk creation of them, as opposed to the very laborious process that currently exists, this is the tool for that. It's also a tool that enables you to load a whole bunch of shared parameters at once into a family or into a project, right? And that, as you probably will be aware if you've done anything with shared parameters, is not available. If you want to load shared parameters in, you have to go in the family. For example, you go into the type dialog box, you click add parameter, you click shared parameter at the top, you go and find the group, and then you find the parameter, and then you click OK 15 times, and not that many, but maybe 3 or 4. And then you repeat that for every single shared parameter. Fun. Right? No. So this is the tool that's going to save you your sanity and save you a lot of time as well. And we'll also take a look at another free tool here. This is the Project Cleaner. This is a tool that you're going to find is really useful in cleaning up your template, ready to have a lean template, but also just use it in projects. If you're receiving files from other consultants and you want to make those files nice and fast, the easiest way to do that is to clean them up by removing all the non-geometric data. So that's really what this Project Cleaner looks at doing. It will remove views, view templates, filters, the sheets, and also images, links, CAD links, Revit links, imports. If you've ever found, you may well have found this where you've imported some CAD in the past, and then maybe you import the CAD into just one view, and then you delete that view, and you think the CAD's gone, but it's not. It's still in your project somehow, and it's taking up size, and somewhere there's a mention of it somewhere in one of the settings. You know, where how is that still there? Anyway, this will find those things and enable you to remove them. Right? So some really cool tools available. So that's my PowerPoint. That's not too bad. That's 10 minutes of PowerPoint. Let's jump over into the software, and I think about 10 minutes or 20 minutes or so will probably cover it. And so I'm going to open up Revit and we'll take a look. Okay. So what I've got here is what I've saved as my big template. So this has multiple disciplines in it. It's got settings for electrical. It's got a bunch of columns inside of it. It's got different wall types. It's got air terminals, mechanical equipment. There's loads of stuff inside of this file. If I was to just check out the size of it, we can see if I just pop into the right folder here. Let's get into my webinar. I've got my template file, and it is about 88 megabytes, right? There's a lot of stuff inside of here. I can show you that by if I start my door command, right? In my door command and the type selector, there's a bunch of doors, door families with types inside of it. Probably not going to use all of those. If I start up on my structure command, go into a beam. Oh, there's only one of those. I may not have loaded many beams in. Let's try the columns. There we go. That's taken a while to even drop the type selector down. So we know there's too much inside of there. This was perhaps the approach that some may have taken. Just throw everything in there. Not a good idea, I think. You can see now me just trying to place a column is taking me 15 seconds. Didn't do this in practice. Okay. But anyway, at some point it'll show up and I'll get a whole bunch of types in my type selector, or it will crash, you know, one or the other. I'll stop clicking there. Seems like a bad thing that I'm clicking on. Okay, so too much stuff inside of my file. Please don't crash. There we go. What else have I got in here? There's, as we can see, there's a whole bunch of views. There's a whole bunch of families. I've expanded everything here. It takes a long time to get all the way down there. But some of the cool things I do have, well, I've got my placeholders in place here. Why have I got those? Well, my links are in there so that they're on the right work set already. If I was to kind of select this structural one here, go and select all the instances in the project, you can see once it comes up with it, wow, it's real fast. It is on work set X-struct. So that's only happening because I've got this as an RVT file, not an RTE file. So that's kind of a nice thing. Yeah. In order to make use of that, I would just need to go into my insert panel, go into my manage links. I would find this one, I'd hit reload from, and then I just go and find the actual file for this project and load that into there. But let's start taking a look at some of the tools. So on my CTC software tab at the top here on the ribbon, I've actually got a few of the tools installed. So I've got my batch suite, I've got my BIM Manager Suite, and I got my BIM Project Suite. So BIM Manager Suite is the one we're going to focus on right now. I'm going to bring this one down into the screen here. And what we have are some free tools. So these are going to be not requiring a license. So we're actually going to use two of these today, but you can see there's some additionals. And then some paid for tools, which are the darker blue ones. So if you download the 14-day trial, you'll actually get access to everything. So you get these, obviously, but you get these ones as well for 14 days. And after 14 days, if you don't purchase a license, you'll still have access to these. And now I've got the project cleaner, I wouldn't want to be without that. So I would download it just to get access to that, even if I'm, even if the company's not purchasing the licensing for me. Okay, so there's my BIM Manager Suite that we're going to focus on in this webinar. So the first one we're going to take a look at here is going to be the type swapper. So as I mentioned earlier, you bring stuff in from different locations using transfer project standards, and you end up with these duplicates. So I can see on my first panel here, I've got duplicates for my callout heads, section heads, view titles, and it's automatically found that, okay, there's another family in here, which doesn't have a 1 on the end. That's the original. Over here, we've got a 1 and a 2. It's saying, well, we'll swap them out for this. So of course we can override it perhaps and just say, no, leave it as it is. But what we really want to do is just swap them. We can hit swap, And we have the option also to just kind of say, well, let's delete these families as well. So that's a nice simple cleanup, right? You're going to find that the title marks currently are referencing the wrong families, get them referencing the right families, and get rid of the wrong ones. But then I talked a little bit about bringing details in, and how when you bring details in and you explode it, you end up with all these new wonderful types. So what have I got here? Well, I've got a list of all my dimension styles inside of my project. I've also then got how many of them are in use. Now, I haven't used many of them, but I can see that I've actually got these ones here. So I actually want to swap these out, because this is meant to be a metric project. Right now it's showing the linear ones have been used. So I could come in here and say, well, this 3/32 inch linear, well, that's meant to be the 3 millimeter linear. And my arrow 3/32, well, that's going to be my, I'm going to guess, hopefully there's an arrow. No, okay. Well, we'll go with the same one for now. So you can pick what you're going to swap them out to. And they don't have to have the 0 inside or a number inside of here. You can just pick what you want. Similar thing with the text types. So again, I've got this imperial and metric mismatch here of things. And so I get the ability to swap them around. I also have the ability then, once I've decided where they're going to be kind of mapped, to save that and then load that. So I've got my load selection here. I'm going to go ahead and find my settings here for the text types. Open that, and you can see now it's saying, well, yeah, let's take this 1/8 inch and swap it out for an inappropriate size looking at it, but let's go maybe 5 mil. And then I got my 3/32 swapping out for 2.5 mil, right? So got some options there. And basically, once you're good with that, you just hit swap, and it will take any object that it finds in the project that is one type and swap it out for the other. So we're going to get similar things here with line styles. We've got a line pattern. So, we've got these import ones here. One of the things I find with these import ones is, you get loads of these when you're dealing with CAD files. And the super annoying part of them is you can't remove more than one at a time, right? So if I go to the Manage tab and I go into my line patterns, I get that same list of imports. So, okay, well, I'll just, I'll do a dangerous thing and I'll just delete them all, right? So I just hold down Shift and click them all. No, just one at a time. So I have to remove them. And also, if I just delete this, I don't know if that's having an adverse effect on other things, right? Maybe that's actually being used still. Probably it is. How do I check it? Well, I have to go to my line styles and see if anything's using that line pattern. And sure enough, I've got my CL line style is using the center import. And I think there might be one more down there. There we go. We've got this stair center, wonderful name, using this import as well. So if I was just to delete those, I would end up losing that line type. So what I want to do is map it first. So back in the type selector, type swapper, you're going to see not only does it give you a list of them, but it tells you how many of them there are as well. So where I have that import one, there's that import stair center. Currently there are 3 of them. So I'm going to go and swap that out for just a regular center. But all the ones with a 0, I can select all of those and I don't have to do them one at a time. Look at that, a multi-select and a delete. Let's get rid of those. We know they're not in use. We know we can get rid of them. We get a little confirmation of it at the end. Super easy to use, and just tools that are super friendly. All right, so we're getting there. So then we've got this one left. That one's going to change to center. We had another one. Oh, I might have got rid of one I wasn't meant to. I'm not sure. Okay, but yeah, and the same thing with kind of like our imperial to metric. So our 3/16 sounds like, what does that sound like? Maybe it's meant to be a -2.5. As long as you've got the right ones, then you can do your swapping. Okay. And even then, fill patterns and materials. So just a whole bunch of information inside of here that's very useful for figuring out if we've got information that's being brought into the project from other places that is not what we need to have in the template. So very good tools. Okay. All right. So moving on from the type swapper, going to take a look at the family tools. Now, the family tools is a free tool. So no arguments about downloading this one. Cool. Where is it? Okay, it's decided to hide. Let's try that again. Free tool, family tools. Really? Okay, where are you? 1 second. Is it on my other screen? I love a live presentation. Oh, good. All right. What about maybe this switching around? I can see it. There it is. Come on, come to the front. Really? Okay, I'll come back to that one. You know what? I'm just going to restart Revit in the background as well. So Revit 2022. While that one's reloading, hopefully that'll give me the option to show that tool soon. Let me take a look at my other tool that I want to talk about. Okay, if that happens one more time, I'm going to be super frustrated. Okay, next up, Shared Parameter Manager. All right, so our problem at the moment with Revit is that shared parameters don't have a great management tool. You can see here, if I go into shared parameters, I can go and find the file. But if I want to add new parameters, first of all, it always takes me back to the top of this list, which is rubbish. If I go into my dimensions one here, you can see I've got some that I've set up. Maybe I'm going to add in a new one. So I've got to click on new, and I've got to write in its name. I've got to make sure I pick the discipline and the length or change it to the correct thing. There's no kind of batch add thing going on here. There's nothing very user-friendly about it, right? Now, let me just pop into the other one. I reckon I might get away with showing up the tool I actually wanted to show first, because there is a order to my madness of what I want to show today. Be fantastic if I could stick to that order. All right, let me just open up the file over here. And so we're going to go CTC. Good. Good, there we go. And the template folder. All right, there we go. This is how you would normally do it. Open it up with Detach from Central, preserve the work sets, and then you can do a save as your project file. That's why it all went wrong for me. So I could do that again. Okay. It's almost open. I'll have a little swig of coffee while it opens. Okay, so back into here. Let's see if I can get this tool to show up. Family tools. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Okay. All right. So moving back into the tool I was showing, back into the Shared Parameter Manager. All right. So what we have then is an interface that is much more usable with these shared parameters. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and find my shared parameter file that I've set up for this. So I'm going to open up this file. You can see here it shows me all of the different categories and then all of the parameters inside of there. Now, if I want to add parameters, you can see what I get here is a different little interface here, but we have this batch add. So let's say I want to add in parameter dimension 01, and then also 02, 03, 04, oops, and 05. Yeah, you get the idea. So I'll add all of those. I can then say that, yeah, they are length or something else. So I can certainly change it and then click create. Up here, you'll notice it's going to be placed in a dimensions one. That's good. So hit create. So there we go. That was easy. Way easier than the out of the box one. I can hit save on that one. The other thing I can do is I can then load them into projects. So if I save that one, I guess for now. Okay. Over here, I'm going to go into load. Loading shared parameters into families or into projects, really laborious. This tool here, I can pick this one, click open. It's going to show me all of the different parameters inside of here. So I only have these right now. The previous exercise was going to show you 2 files and comparing them and then merging them. So I would have had a bit more, but anyway, for now, this is okay. And now what I have here in the middle is selection sets for parameters. So let's imagine you've got 15 parameters you want to add to air terminals, and you've got 16 other parameters you want to add to lighting fixtures, and 12 other parameters you have to add to doors when you bring in manufacturer content. Well, you make a selection set for each one of those. You can see here I've got one for my furniture dimensions. I'm going to make a new one. This is going to be for my door dimensions. In my door dimensions, I say I want these ones, add them into there, and then what I can do is I can define a few of these as being type-based, and they're going to be added to doors. And the other ones are instance-based, and they're also going to be added to doors. So I probably should have just picked all of them here and added them to doors. There we go. I can then hit load parameters, and it's going to load them into my project. In this case, adding them to the doors category, or if it was in a family, load them into the family there, ready to go. Right? So great tools to help you with shared parameters, because they're so lacking in tools inside of Revit out of the box. Yeah, I wish, again, this is tools that I could have really used about 3 years ago. Wish I had them back then. I spent a long time dealing with shared parameters for a couple of clients, and yeah, could have really flown through them at that time. All right. So the fourth or third, if we ignore the fact that I missed one, tool we're going to look at here is going to be the project cleaner, which that one pops up. Good. All right. So the project cleaner, what does this one give us? Well, it's going to show us all of the things inside of this project right now. So this is the thing you use after you've dumped your standards into it and you end up with too much, right? You use transfer project standards because you want one thing and it brings a whole bunch of stuff in, right? That type of idea. Anyway, so what we have here is it's going to list all of the views, view templates. So you can see my different view templates I've got inside of here, different filters that we might have. I don't think I've got many filters, but okay, there's some filters. Transfer project standards, brought in all the filters, and I was maybe only interested in those 2, right? Don't have any sheets in this one, but here's some links, here's some link images and imports, right? So we can use this tool to get rid of stuff. I would use it selectively, I would say at this stage, on a template. But if I'm looking at an incoming file from a consultant and I'm just interested in linking that in as a background, I just want the geometric data. I don't care about the views, because the views I can have in a PDF set and I can refer to somewhere else. I want to see, as far as my link goes, a nice clean model. So how do I get that? Well, I can just go and selectively click the things I want to remove, of course, but I can also just hit this button over here. There we go. All the views, all the templates, all the filters, because I'm just cleaning this thing up. I'm going to remove the links because I'm going to link anything in that I need just individually. Hit remove. It will, if I hit OK, remove 119 views that I spent a long time setting up. It's going to get rid of 56 view templates, 22 filters, 4 links, all in a few seconds. Right? So this is a tool that you want to be using anytime that you're working on a project and you want to clean up those links that you're putting into your project. Okay. All right. So I've gone through a few of the tools here that we have inside of the BIM Manager Suite. I've tried to put a bit of a slant on it towards templates and how it can help you with that. I'm happy to take questions if you want to throw them into the Q&A or chat window, I guess. I'll try and keep an eye on both of those now. Don't see any just yet, but please feel free to put them in there. Otherwise, if I bring back my PowerPoint screen, here is our socials for SolidCAD. So please give us a follow. You're going to find listings for other webinars. We've got numerous webinars every week on different things. We support many products. So myself, I work with Revit, AutoCAD, Navisworks, but we've got Civil 3D, we've got Inventor, we've got Lumion and 3ds Max and all types of experts inside of the firm. Okay, I don't see any chat or questions at this time. So thank you very much for attending today, and I look forward to speaking with you in the future. Okay, my name is Drew Jarvis. I'm a technical consultant with SolidCAD, and thanks for attending.